Well, no surprise, but it is now official. The Sixers are bringing back Kyle Lowry for one more season, one last ride in year 20 for the veteran point guard, of course, from Philadelphia, went to Villanova, spent a couple years here now with the Sixers, and looks like he'll be ending his career here, as he did wish to play one final season with the Sixers. But did they really need to make this move and make this signing? I'm not so sure. We'll dive into it all here on 76ers. Now, before we do, guys, this is why you subscribe. Anytime they make a move, any move at all, we make a video right here on the show. So for Sixers news, rumors, analysis, and more all year long, hit that sub button and join the 23,167 people we got over here at this 76ers Now family. So Shams Charania breaking the news just about an hour ago now at this point that Kyle Lowry has agreed to return on a one-year deal to Philadelphia. It's going to end up being a vet min for Kyle Lowry. You won't get any more than that. Of course, champion with the Raptors back in 2019. Back for his 20th NBA season and a third consecutive year with his hometown 76ers. We take a look at some of his raw numbers from his short time in Philadelphia because, of course, in 2023-24, he was picked up out of the buyout market, only played 23 games there with Philadelphia, but look, had a good end of the year that season with Philly, over 28 minutes a game, putting up about 8, 4.5, shooting an efficient 44 from the field, over 40% from three, but this season, obviously a disaster for everybody on the Sixers. Everybody was injured. Just wasn't really a good year for anybody. Only played 35 games. Lowry was injured himself with a hip injury much of the season. Played under 20 minutes a night, and you can see the numbers really dropped off, and the efficiency especially really dropped off for Lowry. Just when he was out there on the floor, didn't look like the same guy. Of course, that hip thing was definitely bothering him the entire year, but look, Lowry is going to be 40 next March, so before the end of next season, he will be 40 years old, and look, my take on this signing, you're bringing Lowry in for leadership, obviously, right? That's what he is here for at this point, to mentor the younger guys. When you draft somebody like a VJ Edgecombe and you still have somebody like a Jared McCann on the roster, you want someone like this who can be that veteran voice in the locker room, right? Someone who's been there, done that, entering now year 20 for Kyle Lowry. I think this was a big milestone for him as well. He said he wanted to return to Philadelphia for one more season. I think he just wanted to hit that year 20 number. And, you know, Daryl Morey and the Sixers offered him and granted him that wish. But he's going to bring the value. He's going to bring the leadership. On the court, though, I don't think is going to bring a whole lot, especially considering what we saw last season. Even if he is healthy, just not really able to get it done much on the floor anymore. Like, I don't think he'll see the floor a whole lot for Philadelphia. But that being said, when you think about true point guards on their roster, depending on what you consider Tyrese Maxey to be, he's kind of the only one, right? Jared McCain, more of a two guard. VJ Edgecombe's a two. Quentin Grimes is a two. Maxey's developed into a one, but I would still say it's more natural off the ball. So Lowry's kind of the only true point guard you have on the roster right now. But the other reason I don't love this signing is what it means for the rest of the Sixers free agency. We'll get to this here in just a moment. But first, I want to get your one-word reaction to Kyle Lowry returning to Philadelphia for year 20 of his NBA career. Give me one word down in the comment section. Sound off whatever you got to say. Just let it out in the comment section. I know some people going to be a little bit upset about this signing. For me, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm sorry. I know. It's my show, though. I can do what I want here. I'm going to give you more than one word. I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed that this is the route Daryl Morey went. Look, did he have to? I don't think so. Of course, Lowry, as I mentioned, is a Philly guy, born in Philly, went to Nova, wanted to end his career here. So I get them granting him that wish. And yes, it's just a minimum roster spot at the end of the bench. But, man, I really think you could have used one more player on this roster because now Philadelphia has one roster spot left, right? And it's going to go, presumably, to Quentin Grimes, who we'll touch on in just a minute. Meaning there's really no more moves to be made unless you trade Andre Drummond. So you could have went out and got another big, someone like a Chris Boucher, who the Sixers reportedly had interest in, someone like a Precious Achiuwa, even a Bol. Shoot, like you could have had someone that had a chance to make an impact on the court for this squad. Now, you can argue, is that potential on-court impact as much as the impact Kyle Lowry can have in the locker room as a veteran presence? Maybe, but that's personally the route I would have went instead of bringing back Kyle Lowry. So we take a look at a whole now, big picture. What this free agency period has looked like for Philadelphia as it is about wrapping up. Of course, Andre Drummond picking up his player option. We'll see if the Sixers end up trading him. I think with what Adem Bona has shown, at least in that first game of Summer League, he'll play again here in about an hour on Monday night. I think Adem Bona has shown enough to be the backup center. There's been reports Philadelphia has been trying to trade Drummond. We'll see if they can get that done. That would open up a roster spot and alleviate some of my concerns with this Lowry signing. Justin Edwards signing that new deal. What a steal. 3 years, $7 million for Justin Edwards. Kelly Oubre returning on his player option. I don't think he'll be traded at this point. I think he'll be returning at least until the deadline. Trendon Watford, another body in here to replace Yabusele leaving. I like what he can do at the forward spot. Eric Gordon, again, this kind of goes into what I was saying with Daryl Morey entering this offseason, said that last year, he made a mistake. Signed too many older guys, too many vets that he thought could help him once they were in the playoffs, but they couldn't get to the playoffs because he signed so many older guys that they all broke down and they couldn't get there, right? So he brings back Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry after saying he wanted to get younger, get more athletic, and he did with the Trendon Watford signing and with the Jabari Walker signing on the two-way, but I would have replaced either one of Eric Gordon or Kyle Lowry with a younger guard, although, of course, you did draft VJ Edgecombe. The Jabari Walker signing, talked about it earlier today on the show. I like the move. I think it's a steal for a two-way contract. And then, of course, we get to Kyle Lowry here, who's going to be signing that 1 year minimum deal. So this brings me really quick to Quentin Grimes. Now, still remains unsigned as of this moment. The Sixers restricted free agent. What's the deal with him? Do they end up bringing him back? I don't think the Sixers signing Kyle Lowry, because I know some people might ask this. I don't think them signing Kyle Lowry has any indication that Grimes might not return to Philadelphia. They still have the money to match an offer on him. I imagine he's going to end up in the $15 to $18 million range. It depends what other teams try to offer Quentin Grimes a deal. And I think the reason nothing's happened yet is the Sixers have no reason to rush this and sort of bet against themselves, right? And deal against themselves. They can save some money. They can say, Grimes, you can see if you can get a bigger offer, but look, unless you do, we're going to stick firm with what we want. I think Grimes wants over 20, and the Sixers want under 20. Now, I will say, and I'm going to talk about this more on the show tomorrow, so I'm not going to spoil it entirely, but there's a big trade in the NBA that happened today. All of a sudden, the Utah Jazz have some cap space. They could be opening up. There's a chance that Danny Ainge and the Jazz over there in Utah could throw an offer sheet at Quentin Grimes, which would complicate some things for Philadelphia. But I still do fully expect Grimes to return to the Sixers and join now this heavy guard rotation they got now that they've re-signed Kyle Lowry. So that's official. Kyle Lowry returning to Philadelphia for one more season. He'll get to end his career here, his storied career, of course, a great, great player. Just, not so sure he'll make much of an impact on the floor for the Sixers team, but off the floor, he certainly should. Appreciate you all watching, tuning in to today's show. Again, for up-to-the-minute Sixers news, you got to subscribe to the channel. Best Sixers coverage on YouTube. We'll catch you tomorrow right here on 76ers Now.